Welcome back to part 2 of my interview with Austin 2 of faithandhealingarts.com. Concluding this interview, I urge you to please check them out on the web as well as all social media. Give them a like, give them a follow, and make sure you're sharing out their story and all of these stories. The more eyes and ears that we can get on this community, the better it's going to be for all of us. Thank you so much, and enjoy the rest of the interview. It doesn't slow down. We're always on the move. Everything's happening, and many irons in the fire, or burning the candle at both ends doesn't even begin to describe. I think for us and for you, understand it too. There's always something going on, and I'm sure that you're like me in the fact that you don't have an off switch. So it's you just go until, I don't know, either the wife tells you to sit down and makes you sit down, or you just run out of energy. It's at some point, but that's just the way. I mean, I think so many people operate, and that's how I operate. It's how I always have. Getting into this and, podcast or the organization, whatever, that's my therapy after all of this. It's not sitting in a room on a couch. This is my therapy. And any time that I'm ever told, and I don't reach for these accolades, but if I've inspired somebody or made somebody's day better, made them smile or whatever. I got an email yesterday from somebody who was sent a package to that said she had a horrible day at school, and having the package show up at her house just made her day. And that, to me, that makes my entire day too, because that means that we touched somebody in a way that took their mind off what they were going through for that moment.
Yeah. So it's easy to numb to what you might do for somebody else. It's crazy to think that, but I guess our opinions or how we think versus, like you said, I mean, that was everything to her or him, her, whoever was that day, and so it's a no-brainer. I wish that people understood the urgency. Well, you never think about it until you lose your leg, kind of thing. You know what I mean? It's the same concept, like you said. No one ever worries about it until you have to, which I guess is kind of a survival mechanism. That's kind of a good thing, but I wish people would have the intensity of that we do without the tragedy. You know what I mean? And then I think that would be when the difference would start to take place. But we're a bunch of, we're not broken people, but we're definitely changed. You know what I mean? We're changed, permanently. We're tattooed, so to speak, in a different mindset than we were before as a group, a family, anything. And so I guess trying to get people to understand that is one thing. And hopefully that's what we're doing, And I always say, you never know who's watching.
Yep.
Like, how do you deal with that? How you deal with that? Like, you never know. You absolutely do not know who's watching you. And even unrelated to the cancer, like I had a few guys that would say, look, people that didn't even have kids, like you and your wife helped me get through some really tough stuff just because of what y'all, how you function through what you're going through, and and it blows their mind. So being positive is huge, and you can make it or break it. Turning pain into passion, or pain into something good. But yeah, you can either get mad about it or you can do something about it. It's one of the two things. I think it both takes the equal amount of energy, to.
Yeah. I mean, we see other people going through it, and obviously, we were in the very beginning after Jace passed, we were definitely angry. We were angry at the world. We were angry at the medical world, angry at the doctors. We even talked about lawsuits early on, thinking that, we felt like we were wrong. We weren't given the information that we should have gotten in conversations afterwards. And we felt really, truly like we had something. But at the same time, we don't have the financial backing to go up against a hospital or a pharmaceutical company to, aside from a slap on the wrist and making them think I did something wrong. We chose to put our passion into this and to put our passion into advocacy, because we knew that's where it was going to be better suited and better accepted. And, I think something about, having your life changed and, not being broken and, and tattooed in a way like you're different. Like there's a song, like music has been huge therapy for me. And, certain words, they just make a difference. And, a line in a song is, my scars are my war paint. And, we don't have the external scars, right? But we have the internal ones. And that's our war paint. That's us out there fighting in the streets saying, we're here. We're not going anywhere. Standing on Capitol steps, standing, when we go to DC and, you're meeting with congressional leaders and stuff, we're not leaving. We're not here to be violent. We're not here to, do anything like that, but we're here to let you know that we have a serious problem in this country that is being completely overlooked, completely put in the background because we've been force-fed and the world has been force-fed that this is a rare issue, mainly because of some stupid law, the Rare Diseases Act that is out there. Everybody can look it up. You can petition to have the thing removed, but that thing says it because it only affects a certain population of people that it's rare. But, when JC was diagnosed, it was 43 kids a day. That was the number. Now I think it's 47. It's going up. We're not seeing a reduction in cancer diagnosis. We're seeing an increase in cancer survival rates at like 80%. But that 80% also fantastically leaves out the statistic of 95%, which is the 95% of people that will have side effects and long-term issues with their health based on just the treatments alone. Particularly in our case, as girls going through cancer treatments, you have a very high instance from the treatments of developing breast cancer later in life. That's a huge thing. JC was losing her hearing. Obviously, she lost her hair. They said you'll never have kids. She was on drugs for kidney functions and liver functions and heart functions. Like, you're going through all of this. We're going to destroy your body, and you're probably going to have health issues down the line. A case I looked into a few years ago was a girl was diagnosed, or she was NED, walked into the office thinking this is going to be the best thing ever, is given a list of the 12 different types of cancer she may develop later in life due to the treatments. Like that's not that's not the way we need to be dealing with this, or the outlook that we need to have for these kids. If they're going through all of this and they're ringing the bell and they're excited and they're NED or they're cancer free, which are two different things, by the way, look that one up, guys. If they're showing this, you've got to look at the outside of that. And this isn't meant to scare people. This isn't meant to take away from the victories of getting these victories, or the NED, cancer-free, ringing the bell. It's not meant to take away from that. It's meant to never take your foot off the gas. You can't, because you are in this for life no matter what. And it's, unfortunately, like I said, too many people think that, well, your child passed away, so everything's over now, right? You're okay now. You're going to be okay. A couple of years down the road, you'll be just fine. No, it gets worse every single year. And the stupid things that come out of the ignorance that we have been able to come across in this community, not specifically the pediatric cancer community, but just in general, just from lack of knowledge or lack of understanding, is just unreal. The things that people say before they think.
If they can, like you said, going to the NED part, right? Like you're also a customer for life at that point in time. You're gonna they put you on their long term plan to make money through insurance too. You know what I mean? Like you said, it's not the diagnosis is even with or without your kids the rest of your life. I mean, it never quits. It's relentless. It just keeps coming. So I don't know what's your outlook on what's going to happen. I mean, what are you thinking in the future? Like what's the end goal? Like what do you I guess what do you think they're going to do? I mean, what's the I guess what's the muscle behind it, so to speak? I know what mine is. Our goal is is to just literally redirect money. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That's our goal is redirect money into the family's pockets. And I know that you're aligned to do something different. So what's the fight? What would make you feel successful?
So Originally it was money. Originally the absolute goal was money. We tried to push a bill here for 2 years in Wisconsin that was supposed to redirect money into essentially a trust or a fund where it could be directed to research only. That fell flat because that was listed as a tax credit, which is a no-go for most states because that means they're not making any money. Again, that was, and then a general ask for money was also vetoed out of the budget. So you get a real good understanding of where people stand. But that hasn't slowed us down. That what we did was we redirected our efforts. And what I found out is that our daughter's type of cancer and her type of tumor are actually on the rare side in the sense that they affect 30 to 40 children maybe a year. So because of that, there's not a lot of research into it specifically. So our new push now is to create a brain tumor and rare tissue data bank here in Wisconsin through our UW college system and the medical system that will allow those types of tumors and research to be done by not only the scientists and doctors that are running the colleges and the schools and the labs there, but the students. These bright and up and coming young minds that are looking for the next best thing to do, that are like me and don't want to take the road that's been traveled 100 times, but they want to look at something that just sits there and is collecting dust and doesn't understand why nobody's looking at it. That's why we want that there. So our new push is to have this created, and as soon as I get a budget and I can present it to the governor, that's what's happening. And it's something that he's going to love because it will bring money, it will bring attention, it'll bring people into the state, and that's what is that's eye-opening for our government, because that's a positive. Me asking for money is going away with no return. That's the goal. I think that the ultimate, honestly, and I say this all the time, we are, and I'm sure you are, as the antithesis of a business. We hope to one day go out of business and not be needed anymore because we've made that type of impact. If we create this type of data bank and we're able to create something that will push forward in the research world and make a massive impact, then I will feel successful. My wife has actually asked me the same exact question over and over again, is, when will you feel like it's enough? And when you feel like you've reached that pinnacle, will you stop? The question is, will I stop? No.
It'll be something.
Yeah, I'll we've created that, we've reached that, we've achieved that. Now, what's the next step we can do? So yeah, the answer is absolutely no. Of course, I want to continue to push and continue, to make more and more change, and I want to be, on these Capitol steps or at these doors or at the White House, whatever, making people listen. Really, our goal, I think, in all of this around is just to get people to stop and listen to what we're saying, listen to our stories, understand that our children were real people with real aspirations and real goals and real futures, and they're not able to, fulfill those anymore because of the lack of involvement that our government, our country, our world industry has given them. They treat them as, well, they're just kids and they can't make a difference now. They can't vote for me. They're not paying my wages. They're not keeping my company here. So they're insignificant. And that's not okay.
Freaks me out the most is the percentage of people that are concerned about themselves only. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like the safety mechanism now is to back up, withdraw, and just worry about your circle. You know what I mean? And whatever happens to everything else. But I feel like we need to, together, obviously as a group, is going to move things, but getting people to be aligned and in the same page looks like it's getting to be more difficult in general, not just in the medical field, just all across the board. Like you said, Democrat, Republican, doesn't make a shit. I mean, I don't give a shit. Who cares? Yeah. I think it's all a crop. You know what I mean? If you look at somebody's bottom line, they walk into where's all that money anyway? Like, we're shipping money out of the country as fast as we can keep it here, and it's not getting redirected in any way, shape, or form to help cure kids, then why don't you just tell us you don't give a shit without saying anything? You know what
Right.
I mean?
Yeah.
It's
No,
ridiculous.
I mean, please do. I mean, honestly, I'm all about honesty, and I would respect anybody a hell of a lot more, even if I do not like you, if you just were upfront and honest with me. When it comes down to it, I believe $250 million a year is about what our kids get. That is a shot in the freaking dark in comparison to what we do for other countries, other people, or whatever. I mean, $250 million is that's trash. You know what I mean? I think Bezos makes that in about 2 seconds. And we're sitting at thinking, well, this is how much we can direct, and we've directed this much more for you, and we put another this amount in there. Well, but you're still not understanding that the amount of money that goes into everything else that we do, and this isn't important. I guess I don't. I would love to hear somebody tell me upfront and honestly why this is not an important issue. Like that, I think is the best question that I can ever ask a politician in general. It doesn't matter what side. Doesn't matter if we're friends. It doesn't matter, what you support. Tell me why you think this is not an important issue. Like that, I think is what I need to hear. And I would love to hear the answer. And I'm sure it would be a runaround. I'm sure that I'd get no direct, whatever. But I would love to hear it.
It's a percentage that doesn't help tip the scale, so they just don't think about it. They don't care. It's just not important. You know what I mean? It's like having a conversation that makes no difference. It's not gonna move them in a direction that they need to move in. It doesn't help them in any way, shape, or form. So why worry about it? I think it's the same way, just like the 70-30% thing. It's like, oh, hey, here's your new COVID shot. Well, 70% of people were fine. 30% of people died, got a rash, got cancer. Well, who determines who that is? Because I feel like the 30% just happens to be our kids. You know what I mean? Like coming up because their immune system. Like who determines that? Like what politician or company or who determines that is acceptably okay? Like I think that needs to be like 98% versus 2%. Like there's got to be risk. I get that, but yeah, the answer for them would be it's not worth the fight. They're not gonna. That doesn't give them any credibility. You can't go to a politician. You can't go up against. It's like, hey, I would like to be the president of the United States. I'm a huge childhood cancer advocate. Well, nobody gives a shit. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like they want free money. They want free food. They want free cell phones. They want cheaper gas. I mean, if you're not affected by it, it doesn't matter. Like you said, man, $250 million bucks. What is that? Our same way. Two million. Our children, $2 million, $2 million. You know what I mean? And so what is that? 125 kids. Like that would, and then the whole budget's blown. It's just gone.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of a drop in the bucket. They give more than that away to EBT. You know what I mean? It's like $270,000 or $270 million is just North Carolina alone for food stamps,
Mm-hmm.
just the state. And the $250 million, I'm assuming, is
That's country. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, because we get just that tiny little. They love to tout that they've boosted the NCI's budget, but it doesn't boost what's coming to the kids. It's just the budget overall gets a little bit of a boost. But yeah, it's a sad state of affairs when it comes to how they're treated or how people listen to us, and it is a shame. But we will. We're not going to stop. We're not going to stop pushing. I mean, this is going to be a fight that we do until the day that we're not here, because it's important to us, and at some point it's going to be important to them, because I like to say that you got to make people uncomfortable. You got to, that's what you got to do to make them listen to you. Take their time. Their time is your time. They work for you. We don't work for them. I mean, I guess in a roundabout way we do work for them, but they work for us in a sense. They're elected officials. They need to listen to what we've got going on. So if you've got something to say, make sure that they make the time for you. Not their staffers, not their front desk workers. You make them make the time for you, period. But we could go on for hours when it comes to these people and the way that everything is budgeted out. It's terrible. It really is. And we're gonna fight. We're gonna fight and make it work. But on getting into this now, I want so tell us more about Faith and Healing Arts and what you guys do, and what your mission is, and how people can help you and get involved.
Okay. All right. So Faith and Healing Arts is prominently. So Shelby we have a nonprofit as well. It's called Chorus Crafts that we give to children in the hospital, because every time we were there, I mean, you're there all day, and so the crafts and the paintings and drawings and all this stuff is something that I think is a really therapeutic, release for the kids. And then even after the fact, one of the big pieces we call it the love piece, was Braylon. So that was her sister, and it may help them to release that. So first it was more so for, art is art. So it's an expression, and that was super awesome to see anything. And some of the stuff these kids come up with is awesome. And so we decided to, I guess, display that, because we needed an item. And so the item is art. And then with the art, you have the story. So, most people, complete stranger or a CEO that wanted to fill his office full of art has no idea about your kid, my kid, or anybody else's. However, if you get involved in it, I mean, you're going to do it anyways. Like you go to Home Goods and you're going to buy paintings, so you might as well buy them and have some sort of recognition as to who did it, why they did it, and how they did it. And so it was really to bring. Really, it's just a tool. You know what I mean? It's a tool, not to turn it into like some Facebook of cancer, but it's a tool. The art is a tool to gain, people's acknowledgement of what families are going through, without, getting, I guess, super involved, but if you're going to give money and you're going to go straight to the source, I think a lot of people don't pull the trigger on giving some money away, because you don't know what's going to happen to it. Like you literally, if it's like, hey, I've got $1,000, I'm going to give it to cancer research for children. Like there is no acknowledgement. There's nothing there. At least you walk in your office every day of the week, and you walk in and you're like, oh yeah, that's Kinsley, that's Cora's paint. That is what it is. And I know that they, traveled to Florida last week to have a vacation with the family. They didn't, couldn't have gone on, and that money went towards them. You know what I mean? So like maybe that's the basis of the idea behind it. And then obviously being really part of the family's life, like if you have anything in common with something that another family, so you're just, well, I guess building a community, and it's just a specific community. It's a childhood cancer community, so we're using that as a tool to do that. So anybody can buy the art. I think we've got 122 or either 119 or 120 something pieces of art on the website currently right now live. We're working on the different avenues. So we have, we just did a show this weekend, art show local. And so we have a PVC, print that we did. It's like super modern. It's got a cleat on the back there. You hang it up. We have aluminum. And then the original one is we build the actual frames and we stretch canvas around. And so we see there's going to be multiple ways. The canvas is live now. They can buy it. And I, as a person, I'm going to target, businesses. And so this is, hey, let's, put this in your restaurant. Let's put this in your waiting area. Let's do this and let's bring awareness to it. So hopefully they go in there, scan a QR code, and, and if we're involved and they, our website leads them to your website, even better. You know what I mean? The more people that are shouting, the better it is. And the art is a tool. So anybody can buy it. They can do it for business. They can do it. And another thing is too, is at the moment, if they want to give $1,000, you can pay anything you want to for a painting. You know what I mean? It's like, here's $1,000, here's a painting. It doesn't matter what you pay for. So if you donate money, you still get a product, from it. So you can deduct it tax wise. And that's the other thing that I really struggle with is the money aspect of it and giving the money away. So they tax you on all the money, and then they want to tax the families on all the money. It's ridiculous. You can't even
Yeah.
give free money away. We reproduce the art and we sell it. So we're literally just like an Etsy for these kids and their families, and they don't have to do anything. You know what I mean? Like, it's one thing to say, oh yeah, I'm gonna sell my kids art. That's great, but they don't want to deal with it. You know, it's a full blown business. It's a full time job. Yeah, we have, it's just, you don't want to worry about that. Like, you just want to go get some mailbox money is what I call it. Like, that's the main goal. And it may not be that it's $300 or $400 a month. You know what I mean? But if it can be residual and it's $400 a month, I mean, that's a game changer. That's if you're having to travel from here to Durham and your car can barely make it from here to, an hour, but they need to go to your state and they can't make it. So, well, there's a car payment. You know what I mean? There's $200 here. There's insurance payment. So that's the end goal. And so anybody, it's live. We can do it. We're ready to go. I'm 1 week out from having the shop done and everything is, mass produced. We're good to go, and I'm going to light a fire. So this is just the beginning of where we're at. We kind of threw it out there to let people know who we are, what we do, and why we do it. But here in about 2 weeks, we're gonna throw some fire on it, and we're gonna hit it as hard. I'm gonna give it everything I got, and I'm gonna give it everything I got.
I hear you, man. I have no doubt. It's an incredible way to showcase these children and also help the families and help them out in times of need, and really through just kind of allowing them to do something they're doing already anyway, and being able to to help them out that way. I love it. I know that a few years ago when we held our first gala, we had a handful of paintings. We had kids send them to us, and we sold them off and auctioned them off at the gala. And it was incredible, and also, to be able for us to go back and find, old things that JC had painted and we turned them into paintings, and to have that. And one day this room will have those paintings all over the wall. But it's a cool thing to have. And I think for businesses too, that's all artwork is all abstract anyway. It's all what you see in it and what you can get out of it. And to have a piece that has a story behind it versus I bought that at Marshall's, you know what I mean? It's like to have something with a story behind it, or, an ability, a QR code or something that tells the story, whatever. That's an incredible way to not only get more awareness, but to give these children the recognition they deserve for, creating these artworks and going through, horrible times. So that's awesome. And I'm so glad and honored, and I think that Tim would say the same thing, that we were able to come across and meet you all, and we wish you guys nothing but success, and everything we can do to help, we're definitely there. So I think it's going to be an incredible thing, and I can't wait to see what you're able to do with space and mass production and just that time and effort put into it. I think it's going to be incredible.
Yeah, we're excited. Appreciate you us on as a little chick, So we appreciate you, inviting us out to chit chat it up. I'm not the best one to talk about it, but it's definitely. And if we got into any specific cancer more so questions, the wife is definitely up that alley more than I am. But yeah, we're excited. I mean, honestly, it's an honor. You know what I mean? I almost call it selfish. You know what I mean? Because it's part of our healing. Is doing what we can to help others. And I do feel bad about that sometimes, as retarded as that might sound. But you don't realize. You think, oh yeah, I can make a difference, and then you turn around and it's like you can't make a difference alone. That's for sure. That's for sure. So we definitely need you guys, and we appreciate you, having us and chatting it up and showcasing as far as that's concerned as to what we're doing, and we hope to make a splash.
Yeah, no, I think it'll be an incredible thing. I think the success will come. I think with as long as you've got the passion behind it, and it's so many other people and supporters and organizations out there. I think it'll just build. It'll take time, but it'll definitely build up, and I think it'll be incredible. it's a great way to be able to showcase and honor, and you've got the passion behind it, then I think that's a key that a lot of people are missing is, starting a business or starting a nonprofit is, number one, it's not easy in the sense of just doing it, but running it takes a lot of passion, and it takes a lot of it takes a personal connection. It really does, and I think that's what makes our organizations that much more special. If I want to put us on a pedestal here, is having the personal connection to what we're fighting for, which is I think it's huge. So yeah, we're definitely honored to have run into you, and I think it's going to be a great kind of partnership moving forward, and we're excited to see what you do, and hopefully, I know we've got a couple. I was looking before we got on here, and I was looking to see that there's a couple of our beloved families that are up there and have their artwork up there already, and hopefully we can continue to send them that way, and just what we want you to run out of space. Okay, that's what we want.
Yeah, that's good. I'm like you. That's a if you're starting to if you have problems, that means you're moving forward. You know what I mean? If you're ever settled, then that means that's exactly what it sounds like. That means if you don't have new problems every day, that means you're doing the same thing over and over again.
Yeah.
Yeah, we like problems, big and small. But yeah, we're excited. I've got a little car that I've got, and so I'm gonna wrap it, and I'm gonna throw some obnoxious like honk your horn if you haven't helped a family with cancer today yet, get your head out of your rear end. Let me tell you how to do it. So we're gonna have some fun, we're gonna try to do what we can. I'm like you in the sense that I wish more people knew, but I'm maybe glad that they don't. You know what I mean? Because I think people that know tend to be the ones that you hear about it. The only ones that know about it have been affected by it. You know what I mean? It's somewhere along the line, cousins, brothers, sisters, something. You know what I mean? Has swayed them, the one way or another. The wife, she's watching this right now. She's like, "Hey man, tell him this, tell him that." I'm like, you should have been here. She's extremely busy. And she is the one that actually keeps up with all of the stuff. I'm just the jumper here. She's the brains behind everything, and I bring her a big pile of crap every day. I come home like, here. She's like, I'm gonna kill you. It's like, it sounds good. Yeah. She's like, show them the art. That was one of the things. So I had this office, and so I have a ton of PVC art in the van, but that was one of the. So I moved into this office so that the people wouldn't bother me here, like when I'm in here working. And I was like, man, I need some art. And so this was Braylon, which is our oldest one, and Cora have got one right across the wall. But the crazy part is I literally went and bought them a canvas. I threw a towel out on the floor. I gave them the colors that I wanted in my office. And I'm like, here, you guys knock yourself out. So then when they come over that, like you said, I mean, anybody can look at this and say something different. But to me, as twisted as it might sound, it almost looks like one single flower out in the middle of a field all by itself at night. You know what I mean? But
Yep.
but a kid did it, and she was I think when she did it at the time she was like 6. So you never know like what they're thinking. So that was I had planned on having all this art hanging behind me, and I haven't got there yet. I'm literally doing one thing at a time, but it's cool, and that was probably one of the inspirations behind the art thing, and then the faith aspect of it too. I mean, we we don't breathe anything down your neck, but we obviously have a basis of we believe in the higher power. We believe in God. That was that's part of us. It doesn't have to be everybody else's journey, but the faith part is that as a husband or as a man, like I think moms are moms and dads are dads. You know what I mean? So like our job as dads and fathers are to cry in the shed is what I call it. You know what I mean? Like everything's fine. Don't worry about it. It's good to go. And tell mom it's good. Tell the kids it's fine. And so that part is hopefully that if we get families involved, that if they need something, you know what I mean, to talk through, you know what I mean, that maybe we could help in that aspect too. You know, like, you know, don't lose it. You know, don't lose the faith. Like, I promise you, when the smoke clears, it'll be all right. You know what I mean? And so
Yep.
that was where the faith and healing arts just came from. That was like the name. I was trying to figure out what, you know, we were trying to figure out what to do, but that was, yeah, it's huge. You know, your mind is a very powerful thing. And if you let it turn on you, and especially going through this, you don't stand a chance. And the
Right.
family of the kid, you know, nobody does.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I think you're right, and I think you hit on a point that a lot of people don't see from the outside, or they don't understand, is that you see, I think, most of the time, and this is just the way that it is. I think most of the time you see moms on the front line are the ones that are advocating. Moms are the ones that are in the doctor's offices, and they're the ones out there, and that's what you see. You don't see a lot of fathers and dads actually out there advocating or on the front lines or in the heads of you just don't. And I think it is because in nature and whatever, we just assume we're supposed to carry the load and cry in the corner, and we're not supposed to show emotion. We're supposed to be strong. We're supposed to be, that's what it is. And I think a lot of us at this, we've kind of grown up around that, or we understand that's the way it's supposed to be. But listen, we're going through it too. But moms, dads, we deal with it 100% differently. Husbands and wives in the same exact household sitting next to each other, you deal with it differently. You don't process the emotions the same. You don't process the grief or the stress the same, and you handle it in different ways. And so, yeah, I think that as dads and fathers, I wish that I wish we would kind of normalize the fact that we go through this and can use the support just as much as everybody else. But I feel like we also have a hard time asking for that help, asking for that support. Asking your guy friends to come over and, hey, let's sit down. I'm having an emotional day. We don't see that as being a normal thing, right? It's kind of like, yeah, I'm doing okay, I'm fine, when everybody knows that we're lying, right? We're not okay. We're not fine. We're not, we're not dealing with it okay. We are, again, showing you what we want you to see. And I think it's hard for us to express exactly how we're feeling to our other male friends. I think it's not a sexist way to look at it. It just kind of is a societal thing. And I hope that, we can kind of normalize it a little bit more and understand that we all need support, just in different ways. But, to kind of, go the other side of that, is that because we handle it in different ways, there is something in the pediatric cancer world. It's not specific to that, but pediatric cancer has an 80-20 split rule. When your diagnosis happens like this, 80% of couples will break up. 80% of families will break apart because of this. 20% is a very, very small number of families that will make it through this diagnosis and come out the other side. My wife and I did an entire episode on this, a while back, talking about it. We really don't have a good answer as to why we made it on the other side. I think it was a lot of understanding. It was a lot of just the relationship we had. Definitely, I asked her at one time, I said, did you ever think along this path that we were going to get divorced? And she said, yeah, not because of anything bad. It's just that you're going through so much stress in your life and so much turmoil, and you're turned upside down, flipped backwards, and all the way around, that it can really put a wedge between what isn't otherwise perfect, or what everybody else sees on the outside, right? A perfect marriage, a perfect couple, but there's stress happening. So, again, 80-20, why were we part of the 20%? I don't know the answer.
It's a choice. It's a choice. You know what I mean? That's literally it. We met, people give us hell. We made it through. So we broke ground for 1 year, building a home. And that was the year that Cora passed away. And so, dude, you want to talk about laying it down? We laid it down, but we're very good at like dividing and conquering, and I guess in being okay with our strengths and stuff like that. But I could see the anger and the resentment can tear you apart. It doesn't matter if your kid, it doesn't matter if your kid gets sick or not in a marriage. And anger and resentment, I think, is what stops 90% of people. You get in a groove and you never get out of it, and you start pointing fingers and figuring this is this fault, blah, blah, blah. And nobody wants to look in the damn mirror. It's definitely difficult, but it will make or break you. And if it doesn't break you, it will make you extremely humble. And so our marriage, I can't speak for everybody else's, has been spotlighted, and it's more and more coming to be like the best thing that ever happened to us. It has driven us together, and we are a wrecking ball for a team, and in making a difference. So it's I guess it could go just as extreme the other way. And I hate that. I think the divorce rate in general without having your kid having cancer is probably extremely high right now, because the one time that nobody, you don't want to hear anything that they have to say, and then it's this wrist slap mentality. I'm out of here. That's not how it works. Just like the cancer world. If you don't like the roller coaster, unfortunately, you're strapped on until that summer gun's over.
Right.
You know what I mean? So,
absolutely. Yeah.
But I don't think you should be miserable either. You know what I mean? I think it should be. I think you should be happy. You should choose to be happy. But
no, I think that's right. I think for us it was we never like our marriage hasn't been, it's been up and down, not in like you're going to break up tense. It's just we've had things thrown at us from day one, whether it's people living with us, whether it's moving from state to state, whatever the case may be. There's always been something. I feel like we've never had an opportunity to really just be by ourselves and be on our own and whatever. And this, when it hit us, man, it was, we're going to do it together. It was definitely up and down. It was definitely a struggle. And like I said, there were times when we were arguing a lot more, and JC thought it was her fault, and she would constantly apologize, and that it does bring you really to your knees, thinking, we're supposed to be showing her what true love and commitment and family is all about, and we're arguing over stupid, dumb things, because at that point everything is just trivial, and you're not sleeping, and it's just becomes ridiculous. But I think that a big part of everything was we were going to prove to our kids that we were going to be stronger than no matter what was thrown at us. We were going to be stronger than that, and we wanted to give them a good idea of what they needed to look for in a marriage later in life. And I think that was a huge goal of ours. And so I think we proved it, and we're stronger now because of everything we've gone through. And there is not a damn thing that this world can throw at us at this point that is going to be worse than what we've gone through. And so, bring it on at this point. We've got everything we're doing now, and we're stressed and we're pushed to the max, but that's okay. I operate at wide open speeds, and I'm going to continue to do that until the good Lord says you're done. But at that point, I will have hopefully completed the missions that we've set out for. And that's the ultimate goal. And to be honest with you, when it comes to this community and these kids, I challenge any person in this world, anybody, to meet one of these kids and not have your life changed. Spend 5 minutes with one of these children. Allow them to speak to you. Allow them to talk to you. Allow them in their worst day to ask you if you're okay, and have them not change your life forever.
A friend of mine struggling. I would say his whole life, he was a very successful, very driven person, but from an early age, he just kind of, let's call it what it is. He was an addict, right? And I remember telling him, he left us not too long ago, but I remember telling him, like, dude, go, it's free. Go be selfish and go to Florida and go to Give Kids a Whirl and work a day there, dude. Work a single day at that place, and you'll be fine. You know what I mean? Like it's gonna snap you out of whatever trivial crap you think you got going on. you don't have a freaking clue. You know what I mean? Like, dude,
Mm-hmm.
do yourself a favor, and it is selfish, but I'm telling you right now, like you said, it's like, what is there what do you want to talk about after that? Life can throw
Right.
you a bunch of shit, but that is to the extreme. I don't even know if I have anything left. My grandfather, God rest his soul, he just passed away, and everybody's like, oh, I'm so sorry. I was like, hey, he was 95 years old. He lived a phenomenal life and went to sleep one night and didn't wake up. Like, how much better does that get? Like, I'm not gonna, I'm not happy about it, but that's something to celebrate. That's a long, long, enjoyed and lived life, So, the short life it's the whole thing. That's a different ballgame. But yeah, I mean, I wish more people would listen to that. Like you said, it's just an eye-opener, a different ball game, so to speak.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that it's a world, honestly, that we don't want anybody to be a part of. We really don't. It's not about us trying to force you into our community and make you, understand or feel what we're going through, but just, you never know what somebody's going through. And I promise everybody that's, you're standing next to somebody at Walmart, or you're in church, or you're at school, and somebody to your left or right is going through or having the worst day of their life, or they're dealing with something like a diagnosis like this, or a family member, just be nice to people. And just, you never know what's going on. You never know what's happening around you. But there's always somebody out. And I promise you, like I said, you meet one of these kids, you meet one of these families, and they will change your life forever. They will change your perspective on things. They will give you an idea of what's important and not important. We all have trivial things. Even us, we have trivial things that we bitch about and that we get upset about. Even today, even after we've faced the worst thing, we're still going to get upset about something trivial. But that's just human nature. But you know what? You've got to let that stuff roll off your back. You really do, because you let it consume you, and it's going to take away from what you can truly offer to people and what they can offer to you. So that's my 2 cents on that. But I will ask if you have any other advice that you'd like to give the families, or give advice to anybody out there, kind of your closing words on everything.
So, it's a solution. I don't have good advice. I would say just, you got to wake up every morning and choose positivity. That's play a game with yourself. If you're going through a tough time, that, try to figure out, just set a timer that when the negative thought goes through your head, then reset it and see how far you can get. If it's an hour, if it's 10 minutes, 30 minutes. So, if you're going through it, it's going to pan out, in general. So don't choose to sulk in it and feel sorry about the situation. Just get in there and roll your sleeves up and get with it. You never know who somebody's watching.
Absolutely. Well, I think that's perfect. I think it's a great way to end it today. I think it's, you never know what someone's going through, but if you've got something that you're passionate about and you want to get in there and do it, just get in there and do it. Don't let anybody tell you that you can't. Don't let anybody tell you that it's too hard. Don't let anybody tell you that your voice is not loud enough. Because I promise you that even if you believe that, there's somebody else that is willing to stand right next to you and scream just as loud. We are a massive community that is not quiet and is not worried about hurting feelings and not worrying about what your opinions are of us. We just want you to listen to what we've got to say. And I promise it will change your life. It will make your perspectives on life different. So if you've got a passion, go for it. I am so honored to have had you here today, and I thank you for spending the time with me. And we can host another episode one day if your wife wants to come in here and she can tell the other side of the stuff that you said. Listen, I'm the same way if it comes to dates and times and absolute details. If I'm telling you, I'm going to mess them up and I'm going to get them wrong. So I'll have my wife come in and say, hey, this is where it was. This is the date that it was, the time that it was. I forget it. I need to write it down. I need to have notes. So
Yeah, I always mess around with her. She's like, and we watched Zootopia 6,000 times while we're in the hospital, and one of the words in there, the guy's like, he says he can remember everything, but he's like, yeah, my mind is like a steel trap, but he didn't remember anything. So my wife, I'm like, yeah, like don't worry about it. My mind, it's a steel trap. I won't forget it. She's like, yo, you're so full of shit. He remembers everything. I don't remember anything. Like I literally have been limited down. That's another thing is too. I'm really good at living in the moment. You know what I mean? And I think maybe that teaches. You learn how to do that when you're going through something like that. Is you're living in the moment. Like it's literally that time. You don't look in the rear view mirror. You don't look in front of you. You're doing what you're doing while it's in front of you. But yeah, she's more educated in that aspect of it, and she'll. I might have failed to mention to her until maybe last night at like 11 o'clock that I was doing this at 10 a.m. So,
wow.
Sorry, honey.
There'll be another opportunity at some point. We'll definitely, she can come in if she'd like to tell more of it. If she's interested, that's fine. We will definitely do that. I'm all for continuing to spread awareness and share stories and use a platform where I don't have to worry about being censored and I can say what I want and allow people to really speak their minds and tell the stories how they should be told. And not in snippets and edits that, a lot of times you're just going to get shut down. So
Yep.
I appreciate, once again, you hanging out with me today, and it's been great, and I look forward to what you guys have got coming up and look forward to helping and working together any way that we can. And it was an absolute pleasure today. So thank you so much.
Yes, we deeply appreciate it.
We will see you all next week.